Welcome to my channel. Today we will discuss about an article I came across on e-financial career. The article is about Standard Chartered, which is a very well-known international bank, is cutting jobs in Singapore and offshoring many of these jobs to India. And these jobs are primarily in tech, risk management, operation, quantitative areas. So these are basically technical jobs and not the more front office business jobs. And Standard Chartered is offshoring a lot to India more recently, and many of these jobs will go to India from Singapore. There was a similar news for Citibank. Citibank has also cut many jobs in the financial center, more expensive financial centers such as Singapore and New York and London, and moving many jobs to India, especially in risk management, technology, data related areas. Right now, this is not new. It's been happening for more than a decade. Standard Chartered does have an offshore center. I think a number of them. I think more than one in India already. So it's not new that Standard Chartered is moving jobs to India. It has already done in the past. Citibank, no doubt, has a massive presence in India for different kind of activities, including data and risk management and all kinds of areas, including the quantitative areas. Okay, so this is a good news for people who are in India and interested in career in finance, risk management, data science in finance, quantitative finance, and so on. Simply because more and more banks are now starting to open offices in India and offshore jobs. It's not just Standard Chartered and Citi. In fact, there lot of banks, actually, even the ones who are not that international. I came across a South African bank actually offshoring many of the jobs to India. Many Middle Eastern banks are doing that. There are also smaller US banks who were doing that as well. So that's in a way is a good thing. Now, some people have this perception is that once jobs offshored, the quality of work goes down. That's actually not necessarily always true. Maybe it's true in some instances, but it's not always true. You see a really good type of good talent actually coming out of Indian universities, and many of these global firms know that actually, right? Because right, a lot of people actually move to London and Singapore and the US for higher studies from India, and these guys eventually then end up working in these large global firms. So these people, the firms think like, okay, then might as well hire them directly in India and pay them decent salary over there, so they don't have to then relocate. Right? It's in a way win-win, because the global firms save cost, but and the Indian students actually get to work at large global firms with high salaries and getting to live in your own country where you don't have problems with visas, and you stay closer to the family, and that has its own benefits, right? So it's been happening actually for quite some time. It's nothing new. It's just that it has become a news. Many people have talked about it on LinkedIn. 10 years back, I remember when I was in London that time, UBS was doing that. UBS closed some of its department in risk management in London and moved the jobs to Mumbai, and they were hiring big time. I remember getting calls from recruiters from Mumbai for jobs with UBS in Mumbai. So this is something that's been happening, right? All the major US banks like Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, they're also expanding a lot in India on variety of things. It used to be only IT, 20 years back. It used to be just IT, but now you have jobs also in other areas. In banking space, most of the middle office jobs are now under some sort of a pressure in the financial centers, because they can be done from remote places such as India and Philippines. And India is, definitely a good destination for most banks, simply because there is an ecosystem in place, uh, and there are several banks from all over the world present there. And it's not just the banking world which is doing this. Even the asset management firms are doing this as well. I came across this post from a HR manager from BlackRock, and they are hiring in big numbers in India. Consulting firms, all the big four consulting firms, are heavily invested in India, and that's also, in my view, good news for many Indian graduates, right? And this is also a good thing for Indian students, for one other reason, which is that because the tech market is now slowing down a bit, right? And that's just stagnating a bit, right? So if a job's coming from in other fields, such as in finance, such as in consulting, then that is a good thing, because then students can focus on these areas, right? And you have options to explore, right? And not just fully focused on just tech, which has been India's most favorite sector for for three decades or more. So even though it sounds a bit negative that jobs are being cut and being departments being closed, but in a way that's a good thing for Asian countries, especially India, where you have English speaking highly educated people coming out of the universities who are as good as anyone in the world. So that's, in a way, is a positive news for Indian students, right? It may create some pressure for people working in those financial centers like London and New York, who are making quite a bit of money there and very expensive resources. But in those places there are many opportunities. So if you lose a job at one company, you will definitely be able to find a job elsewhere. So these are countries where there is no scarcity of jobs. Actually, there is always some opportunities out there for experienced professionals. So they will definitely find a way. But the main point I wanted to share in this video is that India is getting traction, not just in the field of tech, but also in the non-tech areas such as in finance. And it's definitely a good news. And some people might argue that, okay, these are back office jobs, middle office jobs, not core finance jobs. I understand, but somewhere it has to start, right? So even if these are back office and middle office jobs, somewhere it has to start. Once people do really well in these jobs, only then you expect even the front office jobs to be offshored to India. Well, that's a bit difficult, but many front office jobs can indeed be done by people working remotely, right? That's possible, and that's already happening, by the way, but to a much lesser extent compared to the more back office and middle office jobs. All right, any questions? Let me know, guys, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks.